everybody! After moving from the US to Scotland and spending over a year and a half there, I noticed some changes in myself that I wanted to share with you. Number 1, I don't wear PJs out and about anymore. Since we've now moved here to Japan, this is something that I think will probably change again. Fashion in the US seems much more relaxed. It's okay to go out in your PJs, or, it's not classy to go out in your PJs or anything, but people don't seem to care as much as now here in Japan or when we were in Europe. Now, Scotland is much more relaxed than, say, Germany or mainland Europe seem to be about fashion. But before I moved to Scotland, I would go out in ripped jeans, knee-high boots. Well, the top hasn't changed much. I'm still kind of a t-shirt, tank tops kind of gal. But bottom-wise, after living in Scotland for a while, I stopped wearing so many rips in my jeans, and instead of wearing knee-high boots or sneakers, I was wearing more tight-fitting ankle-high leather boots. They were very popular there, and way more skinny jeans. I've heard that this style of fashion is more popular in California than, say, the rest of the US, so keep in mind I'm from the Northeast. Now that we've moved to Japan, though, I stand out just as much here as a foreigner as I did in Scotland when we first moved there. Number 2, I travel more. Duh. When I lived in the US, I traveled a bit throughout the US, but not so much outside of it. Not many Americans have a passport, actually. Joe and I honeymooned in Colorado, and we did a long vacation in California when we were considering getting a flat out there. But we mostly did weekend trips up and down the East Coast. We didn't even go to Canada. In Europe, however, there are so many travel opportunities and so many different cultures that are so close by. Travel is much more affordable with Ryanair or Jet Air or a lot of these budget airlines. We just couldn't pass it up, and luckily we both loved it. Thus, our decision to continue traveling and living abroad. Number 3, we mind our cues. In the US, people definitely considered it rude to cut in line, but it wasn't nearly as frowned upon as it was in the UK. I remember being in a London airport and standing in line waiting for the toilet when a woman with her 5-year-old daughter, about 5 years old, came up, and the woman was just saying that the daughter couldn't hold it and she needed to use the toilet. And I was really surprised when another woman started arguing with her that they didn't wait in line, so they shouldn't be allowed to cut. That's a whole nother level, in my opinion. This isn't specifically standard, and it's not something that everyone adheres to or everyone is that strict on, but you'll definitely at least get some faces or some looks if you cut in line. This actually started rubbing off on us to a lesser extent. When we were traveling around Europe, in Italy, Greece, and Belgium actually, there was some mobs, just big groups of people rather than orderly lines. When a bus would come, everyone would kind of swarm and rush towards it, and everybody would cut. And even when you were waiting in line to get a ticket for the ferry or something like that, people would just blatantly cut in front of you, turn around and look at you and say, like, oh, it's okay. And I remember Joe getting so angry at those people and just wanting to go back to the UK where everyone is much more polite. Number 4, I think kilts are sexy and super cool. I think I've said enough. Number 5, I think 70 degrees Fahrenheit is hot. When initially moving from the US to Scotland, I was nervous about the weather, but I actually ended up enjoying it a lot. It didn't rain as much as I thought that it would, and it wasn't as cold because Edinburgh has maritime weather, so it doesn't really get below freezing too often. And after the first winter, when it was starting to get warmer towards the summer, I noticed that it would hit 16 degrees outside, and all of a sudden I was in a tank top and sunglasses, and I was dying of heat. It's pretty amazing how quickly the human body acclimatizes to new environments. And I'm really hoping that that kicks in soon here in Japan, because oh my goodness, it is so hot and I am just not used to the heat anymore. Number 6, we pack much lighter for travel. When we went to Colorado and California, we would pack a lot because we would rent a car and stay in pretty much just one hotel the entire time. But the way that we traveled throughout Europe completely changed that. all of a sudden we didn't have a car anymore. We were taking buses and trains, and we were going from hostel to hostel to hostel every single night. So it didn't make much sense to pack as much as we were used to packing. We traveled way lighter, we were doing laundry on the road, and that just completely changed, and I'm glad that it did. I have a feeling that when we travel throughout Southeast Asia, we'll pack even lighter because it'll be more consistent in the weather. Number 7, our speech. After living, studying, and working in Scotland for over a year and a half, I picked up a lot of the local lingo. Suddenly, I was saying cheers to everyone for everything, and people wouldn't be able to tell where I was from because I started picking up a bit of the accent when I was speaking to Scottish people as well. When video chatting with my family, they would notice that I would say flat instead of apartment, or lift instead of elevator. And this was a slow change. I even remember when I was in between, I would kind of say both in the same sentence. Like I said to Joe, why isn't that family taking the lift? The elevator's right there. Even while we were traveling throughout Europe, I was converting things to pounds instead of dollars. Some people have commented that in my videos when I say flat or quid or any of the local language, it sounded like I was trying too hard or that it was just plain wrong for me to say those things. But if you think about it, it would have been very weird if I clung to the American style language when I wasn't living there anymore and I was speaking and working with locals day in and day out. After you get laughed at so many times for saying this is our holiday menu instead of this is our Christmas menu, you slowly start to change. It's very normal to adapt to your surroundings, and it became very natural to me. Thanks so much for watching. Please comment below any ways that you've noticed that maybe you've changed when you've moved from one place to another, even if it's just state to state. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. See you soon. Bye.